Hey, this is Sandy.
And Randy.
And we're here on AT Corner.
Being an athletic trainer comes with ups and downs, and we're here to showcase it all.
Join us as we share our world in sports medicine.
Welcome back to another episode of AT Corner. This is the Ryan Seacrest special episode because we're talking about hosting.
I actually had no clue where you're going with that.
I know, that was pretty good, right? Because Ryan Seacrest, he's a host. That's a strong start.
Like a million years ago host.
Yes, no, that's not. I didn't say it was relevant to today, but I'm sure most people get the reference.
Would you rather host or be hosted?
So I went back and forth with this one.
Really?
Yeah. A part of me actually would like to be hosted.
Why?
I do like the aspect because, like, obviously if you're hosting, that means you're home, so you're familiar with everything. And then, like, oh, you get to go home. Because I don't really travel that much to begin with, hosting means I got to take care of both teams. Whereas if I'm traveling, I just got my team.
That's true. That's a really big pro.
And then also, like, I don't have to worry about setup. Again, not the end of the world, but when I'm home, I have to worry about getting the coolers out there and, like, I got to set everything up.
So our first story is from Nick, and he said, host means I get to go to my own home after, even if I have to stay a little bit later than expected to clean up. I also usually have more student helpers at home games too, so I can have them help me carry and clean stuff.
Which is valid. Like, I like the part of you get to go to your own home.
Yeah, I think I would rather host.
Ooh, okay. Why?
Because, well, first of all, I hate driving. So if I'm visiting, it means that now that I'm the certified,
yeah,
it
you're
means
the driver.
that I have to drive.
Okay, what if you weren't driving?
Well, I also really don't like unpacking the van. Like, I will pack the van. Like, I love that. I will Tetris the shit out of that.
There you go.
But I don't like unpacking.
I think it also depends on the sport, too. Like, because football, you bring everything. So, really, home, away, it doesn't matter. You're bringing a lot of stuff.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you work track, because, you know, that's what I'm familiar with, traveling's way easier than hosting.
For track?
Oh, yeah.
Being hosted is so easy.
Oh, yes, 100%. So I think it also kind of depends on the sport. Like, are you having to bring a lot of stuff for your sport or not?
Right. Well, for right now, hosting for my baseball team, because we're off campus, is essentially the same as traveling.
Yes, tell me about the off-campus hosting.
Well, I've actually had to host on my own campus and not on my own, on our own off-campus field.
Yeah.
That's actually not our field. And then also, because we don't have our own field right now, because it's under construction, I've had to host at a different college that we were playing.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is what sucked about it.
Oh, that is tough.
Is we were the host on their side, but because it's like their field,
yeah,
they were in the home side.
Oh, okay.
And we were in the visiting side, but we were the host. And so they didn't have like anywhere for me to set up.
Yeah.
Because like where I would set up is right behind their bullpen.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit my table right behind a bullpen.
No, I wouldn't.
Right.
And that was similar to what I had in softball. We were playing a team, but we were technically the home team. But yet we were still in the visiting dugout.
Right. And the visiting dugout is not made for hosting.
No, not at all. I would just like to say that every home game for us is a road game.
Okay, that's true.
We do not have any facilities.
You don't have a single facility.
Yes, so it doesn't matter. Again, that's why not hosting is better, because I just send the kids away. What
about when you were at your D1? Either one. Either of your D1s.
Oh, I'd still say away is a little bit better. Again, the familiarity part of like, hey, you have all your stuff, you already know everything. Like, yes, that is definitely beneficial. So that it's a close argument for me, but I'm still going to go with traveling. But also another consideration when you host is also you have to communicate to the visitors.
You know what? Actually, that is very underrated, I think. Like, I feel like, do you send out a welcome email? When
95% of the time, yes. There's sometimes I forget. Because, like, for sure the non-conference. Our non-conference opponents we do.
Uh-huh.
And I try to do it for our in-conference ones, but every now and then sometimes I'm like, today's game day and I forgot to email them. But we all kind of know each other in the conference pretty well, and like everyone's protocols really haven't changed. So everyone kind of understands like, oh, like I need to email them about, this person needs this tape, or I already know their COVID protocol, so we don't need to ask what we need to do.
So I just in the fall started working in a new place, and so I had to put a welcome email together like real quick, but I haven't had to use it since the fall.
Okay.
But I do like seeing how everyone's welcome email is like a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So Alyson S said in her welcome email, she includes the EAP, what we provide, so like a splint bag, AED, what we ask them to bring, like water bottles, for example, shout out COVID. And then she says, nothing bothers me more than when the host AT doesn't email first. I work at a D3 and not all ATs travel, so it's embarrassing to get to a location. Someone gets hurt, I run out on the baseball field, and so does the host because they think I'm not there, and then things are weird. This happens so frequently to me. I've also had this situation happen, and the host AT will go, oh, so you're not a student?
Oh, that one's brutal. That one's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does get under my skin too a little bit, like, because like I know for our conference too it's especially because of COVID, the rule is that the host school should message out within 72 hours of the contest to go over everything. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Again, sometimes we are also at fault of that, but
so the
I get the frustration.
Oh yeah. So at the community college level, I feel like because we don't really travel other than with football and playoffs, for the most part, especially like in the spring, we haven't really hosted, well, I mean, we've hosted teams, but not like ATs.
A visiting AT.
Right. And we haven't really had that since the fall.
I do have to say that's the best email response is when they email me back, oh yeah, I'll be traveling with team. I'm like, oh, thank God. I just get one team to worry about. Love it.
Right.
Especially because right now we have to do like COVID check-ins, like symptom checklists before the game for both teams. So if they travel with their AT, I just got to worry about my team.
I'm really surprised you guys still do that, actually.
Okay, so when I say we, like I feel like I feel like our school's pretty good about it. I wonder like sometimes if like when they go like, are other people really still symptom checking? Are we just being a little over and above?
Is it because your conference does it?
It's supposed to, yeah. Well, yes. In general, everyone has to. The testing is kind of dependent on the school. So yes, the symptom screen is a conference rule.
Do you guys have any conference rules of what you're supposed to have as a host? Like water and stuff?
To my knowledge, no. Like, so pretty much everyone, like, I don't think it's like written down or anything, but everyone understands that like we were providing the water. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we don't do bottles anymore because of COVID. So if anything, we provide cups, or some teams, like if they're not, they will let you know like, hey, we aren't providing anything. Like we provide the water, but like your team needs to bring their own thing to fill it up. Like their own bottles or something. So like they may not be providing the cups as well. So
my conference, actually it's the state.
State?
Yeah. So from our state bylaws, we have listed what we're supposed to
host with.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And even like in playoffs, it outlines like who is supposed to be there too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone organized.
Right. And actually I was talking to Dillon P, who said in our league, he works with hockey.
Okay.
We have a supply list of minimum supplies we need to provide for visiting teams. Most teams bring their own stuff and never touch the supplies we give them, but it's good. I know that some supplies will be provided. There's also the 24-hour rule where if an AT needs something extra when they come, they need to reach out to the host AT 24 hours prior to them needing it. Now, obviously emergencies exist, and in the league, I've never met an AT who wouldn't give a last-minute supply if they've had it. We have 27 teams all over the nation and 2 in Canada. And then he gave me a picture too, and he said, this is the league directory for all ATs and equipment managers in the league that we get at the start of each season. It lists the pertinent information for all of us to know. It also lists required supplies for the home team to provide a directory of any contacts for each team and how to get a hold of them.
Nice.
So we're going to go ahead and put that picture in our Facebook group. But like, look at that.
Oh,
It
that's
has,
cool.
like the whole supply list.
That is very organized.
Mhm.
That is nice to know.
Right. And it says like hand sanitizer, pre-wrap, adhesive spray, adhesive remover, ice bags, ice scoop, like literally down to
Yeah.
That's way more detailed than ours. I think ours is like water, cups,
Yeah.
access to the athletic training clinic an hour before or something.
Yeah. I mean, we did, that part too. We also talked about like team. So I think this might be because of COVID. I'm not sure because that's when I entered the conference. But, in our conference, it is, it's the requirement that the host AT is made available 2 hours prior to the contest.
That is so long.
So the whole idea was you have time because the visiting team should be there. You should have time to be able to screen the visiting team and take care of the visiting team without it taking away much from your team or setting up or anything like that.
Ours is an hour before. Like the host AT is supposed to be available an hour before and 20 minutes post.
And I think a lot of that too comes from like, for us, like our conference, a lot of our schools, we don't have our own facilities. So a lot of schools in the conference have to use community sources. So I think that also plays a role.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to show up early baseball's hard because normally they practice for like 3 hours before the game.
Yeah, pretty much. It takes forever.
But it's like I'm off campus, and so it's tough.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
But usually we try to do an hour before. I try to do a little bit more for baseball.
Well, and also you don't have that check-in process that you have to do. That we have to do, I should say.
Do you guys do pregame meetings?
Only if the visiting team AT is there, then yes, I will go up to them.
Okay,
and
so
talk to them.
So whose job is it? Is it if?
Oh, it's always the host.
Okay, right.
It's the host.
This is for any setting. If you are visiting, or if you have a visiting AT, it's the host's job to walk over.
That's part of the hospitality.
I know.
You go up to them, make sure they're doing okay.
So
so track, obviously, that's different.
Right.
Because you're hosting a lot of schools.
You're just going to walk over to each tent.
Tent, yeah, that doesn't happen. So, yes, if you're a visiting AT for track, it's probably nice that you go to the main medical to say hi instead of expecting them to say hi. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess it is kind of sport specific, but I think in general, especially team sports, the host AT should stop by and say hi.
Right.
Like, I don't rely on them to. Like, if I'm somewhere and I see them, like if I'm visiting, I will try and go make my way that way. Uh-huh. I know some people will be like, oh no, I'm going to wait until they come to me because it is kind of expected them to, but I have nothing. I'm not busy right now. I'll go say hi.
Right. Well, that's kind of like the juggle of like, when do you do it? Are they busy? Are they not?
Yeah.
I feel like with football is like really what I host. So like, I feel like with football, it's really easy because you just like look across the field and are they doing anything? Nope. I'm going to walk over.
Do you do the meet at the 50-yard line?
I've done both. So like
cool.
if I walk over and they start walking towards me, then we kind of meet halfway. But if I'm walking over and they don't notice, then I'll just meet them on their side.
Nice. It is kind of epic when you meet at the 50-yard line. It's pretty cool.
You think so?
I think it's epic. You don't think so? Because that's like what the teams do, and like, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool.
I mean, that's our job, is to look cool.
I mean, that's 90% of being an athletic trainer for football, right? It's just, I got to look cool while I'm out there.
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay, so for pregame meetings, Caroline D said our pregame meetings would cover EAP, team physician location of the ice machine, AED, spine board, and trading contact info. Also just chatting to catch up if we know the AT coming. If they're new, then we discuss things going on within the league, how they like their new job, etc., etc.
Okay, that's another thing. Like, I'm pretty chatty sometimes. I like to chat, and sometimes the other ATs, they don't give you much. Like the visiting AT. So when they don't give you much, you're just kind of like this was kind of cool. I was meeting someone new. Like I was hoping to chat a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I like to chat.
Yeah, I like to chat with the. Again, when they are in your conference, it's easier because you have stuff to talk about.
Right.
You get to have the same venting session because more than likely you're complaining about something within the conference.
I will say, yes, this is really important for like EAP and stuff.
Yes.
It kind of even if I've been to a venue before, it kind of irks me if someone doesn't go to over the EAP, just because like, yes, I know that like you know it, but also like if I have a student with me, I want them to get in the habit of if you ever have to host, you need to tell people your EAP.
Yeah.
So I think that that's like one, a role model thing.
Yeah.
And two, it's just like I'm not usually here. I know I've been here before.
Yeah.
But like it takes 2 seconds. Also, who's in charge of the EAP? Do you usually leave it up to the host?
What do you mean?
Like if something goes down and we need to call 911, who's in charge of activating the EAP?
So it should be your decision, but they go through the process because they know their process.
Right. That's what I agree.
Yeah.
So like when I was away with football, I said, yes, we need EMS. And then the host AT decided to roll through it.
Yes. Yeah. And when I have someone.
They didn't decide to roll through it. They called.
They started the process for you.
Yeah.
And that's what I do when there's a visiting AT is I just let them know like, hey, if you need me, just let even if it's like, because like I don't bring the splint bag with me because a lot of times I'm the only one. So if I'm stabilizing, I'm not going to have the opportunity to splint someone.
Right.
But if I know a visiting AT is going to be there, I'll bring the splint bag and I let them know like, hey, like if you need anything, just wave me over. Like I'll try and like I'll be watching, so like I can kind of get an idea of if you're going to need assistance. But like if it's an EMS thing, like hey, just let me know and I'll run through our protocol for you.
I think team physician location is a big one too.
Yes.
Like, hey, we have a team physician, or this is how you know what a big one too is like how do you contact me? And this is not just like just like AT to AT, but like when I'm working baseball, I'll go over to the other coach and introduce myself, and I'll say, hey, if you guys need me, you can either call me over or you can send someone my way.
Yeah.
So like I give them the option. I feel like a lot of times with football, it's like a radio, right?
Yeah,
it's like you're just gonna radio me. But with other sports, it's like, okay, well, we need to know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to talk about in the pregame. You're not gonna be like waving your hands on the sideline.
Yeah.
Like, come over here.
Help.
Also, spine boarding is a good one because some EMS don't want your spine board.
Yes.
Or some EMSs don't spine board.
You'll board them and then they have to take them off your board to put them on their board.
Right. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
like
good
you
thing
said,
to go
some
over.
counties too don't even do spine boarding unless it's like a car accident kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So we got an interesting one from Christina S. She was talking about this in the high school setting, because in the high school setting, they still host, obviously.
Of course.
But it's a lot. She said it's a lot harder to track down ATs.
Oh yeah, because like it's easy for university because
We're
or
all on the
community college.
We're
yeah,
all on the website.
there's this athletics website,
Right.
but in high school they really don't have those. It seems like.
Right. She said school websites don't advertise ATs well. Atlas would be the only place, but many schools in my state don't have ATs.
Ooh, that's tough.
Right.
That's tough.
I remember when I was at the high school, there was my first game was the third game of their season.
Yeah.
And they had an AT for the other sideline. And I was like, oh, cool, like whatever. Did not think that was like a luxury. Didn't realize that. And then I went the rest of the season without seeing another AT.
Yeah. And then you realized how much how terrible it is to host for both teams, especially football.
Well, I mean, 8-man's different, but...
Yeah, but it was still terrible.
I loved it.
But you were busy.
I was so busy. That's not sustainable.
No.
I loved it, but it was not
No.
sustainable. All right, so let's talk about supplies.
Okay.
So when you host, do you supply the team with things like tape?
No, the visiting team should have it. So like they should have a travel kit. And I know that's kind of the thing in community college, because that comes up a lot, but in our setting, a lot of our schools don't travel with an AT. So it is expected that they'll have a travel kit. Now,
what if they don't have a travel kit?
Okay, so I'm not that guy. I give them a hard time. I do. I give them a hard time about like, oh, you guys need to bring a kit, because like a lot of times it's either they forgot it themselves. I never blame the host AT. I'm just going to assume the team messed it up somehow.
Right.
Because athletes do that. So I either assume they forgot it somewhere, or they don't know where it is and they don't feel like looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I give them a hard time, but I'm never that guy that's like, well, I'm not taping you. Nope, I'm not doing it. No, like I have plenty of supplies. Like we will be okay if we tape your team.
Right.
But so like what I do is say my team forgot the kit, or like somehow they didn't like get the kit to the visiting AT and the AT uses their supplies. If I had a bunch of people probably getting tape, I'm going to try and, repay them, like reimburse them for those supplies. Like I'll try and give them, like say they use the white tape, I'll try and give them some white tape next time we see them.
Mm-hmm. So Christina S said, if one kid needs something, it's not a big deal for her. But when your whole team needs both ankles taped, I am not providing supplies.
Oh, I'm going to send it. If it's like that, I'm going to send an angry email.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because, well, I mean, if it's the whole team getting both ankles, that's a lot of tape.
I feel like...
I mean, not even my kids are getting that much tape. So if I'm doing that for your team, no.
I feel like some ATs will actually like email me beforehand and they'll be like, by the way, I have like the whole team getting
Which is nice. Like, it's nice to get an idea of who's getting taped, especially if it's a lot. Like, if it's like one or two that I have to tape and the AT visiting, the visiting AT forgot to let me know, like, it's not the end of the world. But if it's a lot of people, it would be nice to know.
Right.
I've had some people who, like, I had to tape a lot of people and I did not get an email.
You know what I do? And actually that I've gotten from other ATs too, is also if I have an elaborate tape.
Yes.
Then I'll give them a heads up.
That's good.
Or I'll send them with like a video. Or like I'll send them like a step-by-step on a piece of paper and be like, take this with you, hand it to your AT.
I've also had, I've had pictures sent to me about like what it's supposed to look like. And I'm like, all right, got it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is helpful.
Well, you know what? It's helpful, but also I feel like it's really cool to see how other ATs tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because people can be creative.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Actually, I've gotten a lot of my athletes who come back and they're like, they don't tape it the same as you.
That's how it is for everybody. Everyone likes the way their AT tapes better.
Right. And I'm like, listen, you're going on a 2.5 hour drive. I'm not going to tape you before.
No. It's going to be useless by the time you get there.
Right. All right, another big one.
Okay.
Do you provide Gatorade?
No.
Ever? That was really quick.
No.
Well,
you know what? I might for like if I'm cool with the other AT.
Oh, so if they're in your like
if it's a good trade-off. A lot of times it's like if you do it, like they've probably done it for you, or like they would do it for you kind of thing. It depends how tight I am with the visiting AT, yes.
So any visiting AT who's listening to this, who you've ever hosted, who hasn't got a Gatorade, knows they're not in your in crowd.
Well, I don't do a lot of team sports to begin with, so yes, actually, technically, all visiting ATs had access to Gatorade when I was working track. Because I do Gatorade for in the main medical during the track meets.
Right.
So
So
but no, I barely like making it for my team because it's terrible to clean up.
Me too. It's so horrible to clean up.
Yeah.
They need a better system.
Well, like I don't necessarily mind if I had the facilities to do it, but currently where I'm at, our capability of washing our coolers is more difficult than maybe other universities. So just adding the element of having to clean a cooler with Gatorade is significantly more difficult.
Randy, I have the facilities. It doesn't make it any easier.
I actually had one of the ATs in our conference texted me because apparently my baseball team decided we're going to put Gatorade in this cooler of water to make our Gatorade. Didn't want to run that by anybody. Just
Where did they get the Gatorade?
I don't know. I'm still confused because I know they didn't get it from us. So they must have bought it on their own. And then also, like, how would you not, like, check with, like, that's not your cooler.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make this unilateral decision and I'm going to put Gatorade in the cooler.
And what?
It's not your cooler.
And what happened?
So the AT texted me, is like, and we're really cool with this university AT. Like, she's really good about communicating with us. And, you know, I feel like we've done very well between our two schools. Mm-hmm. So she just texted me and was like, hey, just as a heads up, your baseball team put Gatorade in our coolers. You know, if, you know, we really don't want them doing that. I'm like, I am so sorry. So I texted the coach. I'm like, absolutely not. You can't be doing this. And then, like,
is this another school that doesn't really have facilities?
Yes. So it's really difficult for them to just clean their own coolers just of water.
Oh, shoot.
Let alone you now added the element of Gatorade.
Yeah, gross.
And then, like, you know, she was being very nice, you know, being a gracious host by saying, like, well, they can do it if maybe by, you know, the end of the game or like game 2, it's just water. And I was just like, no, I don't trust my baseball team. They're not going to do that. They're just going to make it more difficult. They just can't do it.
Right.
They've proven that they should not be given that much leeway.
So Maddy S said, if it's over 90, I'll have Gatorade available. Otherwise, I only make it for basketball and soccer.
Yes. If in an emergency, I will provide Gatorade to the other team. Like, if I have their athlete who needs Gatorade.
Right.
So, yes.
And then we have Spencer P. She said, our conference is not known for providing Gatorade because of budget, so I typically don't make it unless it's a school that's known to do it for us. Oh, you said that.
See? Yeah.
Known to do it for us.
We take care of each other.
Out of conference games against bigger schools, I will, though, but it's just a small 3-gallon. This is for softball specifically.
Dude, okay. That reminds me. So, you know, as a grad assistant, you know, we were D1. So we played a lot of D1 schools, especially for tournaments. And some of our tournaments were kind of big. So we had like larger D1 programs that would come in. Mm-hmm. It would bug the hell out of me when a visiting school had the audacity to ask if we could make them Gatorade.
Oh, yeah, no.
The audacity. Like, we are not a big D1 school. You are. And you're asking us to make you Gatorade.
Well, that's what they're used to.
Like, are you for real? Like, I feel like know the audience.
Yeah.
Like, that was bad. Like, we barely can provide Gatorade for our team. And you're thinking that we're going to be able to do it for both teams? Like, I can understand, like, hey, can you set out an extra cooler for us so we can make Gatorade?
Oh, wait, this is the AT asking?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was the athletes.
No.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty bold.
Again, like I said, like, if it was like a, hey, like, we want to do Gatorade, can you provide an extra cooler? Absolutely. No problem. But they were asking for us to use our Gatorade that we have to make it for them.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I would not ever ask another school to do that for me.
No. That's like unwritten rule.
That's brutal.
Okay, we actually have a story about that.
Oh, okay.
So, you want to read it? This one's anonymous.
The visiting AT completely drained the 10-gallon before the game even started. Also, wasn't that hot. Then requested a refill. Wanted another ice chest and requested a Powerade refill.
Okay.
All at separate times.
Right.
Oh,
okay, they asked for, not only did they already gone through one sports drink, whatever.
Yeah.
They asked for a refill.
That's brutal.
On Powerade.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Anonymous continues with, I was lucky I had an intern with me, or there's no way I could have done that. I've also never been asked for a Powerade refill. Nobody has ever finished it, and if they do, they don't say anything. So I just kind of stared at her and was like, we usually only give the one. We don't do refills on that. And I guess later that week, she went and complained about things not being available to her. I was livid. I did absolutely everything she asked and tried to be kind about it, even though a lot of what she was asking was unnecessary and at inopportune times. And she had the audacity to complain. Like, what? I was also just mad at the fact that usually ATs try to work together and understand that we don't have the time to do extra stuff during game time. But oh well. My question is, was this a D1 school? Because apparently these big D1s think us smaller D1s have the same capabilities that they do.
Yeah, I don't know. A refill, like that's crazy to me.
When I travel,
Because it's not like water is like free, but you're paying for Powerade.
yeah, that's literally coming out of your budget.
Right.
To make and which, by the way, not cheap.
No.
It's not cheap. And again, the labor to make it, to clean it, no. See, when I travel, I try to be the most low maintenance I could be. You know, I try not, even like treatments. Like, I know, like, especially for, I mean, I think every team, especially like kind of like at D1 level, like they do offer like, hey, like, here's our facility. Like, if you need to do modalities, just let us know ahead of time. No, I'm sorry. If I'm visiting and my athlete needs a modality that bad, like, I don't think they should probably be playing that game.
Right.
Like,
I'm not
gonna go in there and like ultrasound. Like, if anything, I'm doing it beforehand, or we're finding another way.
Right.
Because like, I just feel like I'm not trying to put the host school out of the way. You know?
Right.
That's brutal. That Powerade one, that gets me.
I know. You want to hear another unfortunate visitor one?
Yes.
This one's also anonymous. So this person said, I was hosting soccer. The visiting team brought their own AT. We talked beforehand and we said we'd cover our own teams if people go down. One of my athletes goes down while I'm helping someone else and they're just yelling at me to go on the field instead of helping me. So I ran all the way to the far corner of the field. Guess what? Next, their athlete goes down. Far side from their bench, just like my situation earlier, but they are not helping anyone. And they just looked at me to go on the field because I'm closer. I end up going on and helping their athlete, but they just looked at me like it was too far for them to run. Next time, we will agree to cover our own teams, regardless of how far down the field they are.
Oh, man.
Like, no, we agreed to help our own teams. Now you just look at me like it's my responsibility, even though you're just being contradictory right now. I saw this as very unprofessional. Oh well, next time I will clarify with other AT that it's not a proximity game. If it's your team, you will get that. Which I feel like I wouldn't want, like, as much as I trust other ATs,
yeah.
Like, I know my team.
Yeah.
Like, what I expect from another AT is maybe if it's too far, like I've had this before.
Yeah.
Like, they get there and kind of like assess the situation and kind of like stand in that area until I get there.
They help calm the athlete down.
Right.
Or like, hey, like, try to somewhat stabilize them until you get there. And then when they get there, they're the support role, like, hey, if you need anything, or they, and then they'll just let you kind of do your thing unless you need more help.
Right. Like, you don't even have to start the eval.
No. Like, you literally just have to be like, hey, like, they're coming, just breathe, like, anything to calm them down. Right.
Or even just like stand there so the ref doesn't like
freak out
that no ATs are doing anything. So this person said, yes, you made me run and get them from across the field while I was actually busy, but you won't run to your own player when you're not busy just standing there. The level of unprofessionalism is too damn high. I hope it helps. I will always clarify we get our own players, even if it's on the opposite/far side of the court. Or not, depending on what you agree to, but definitely worth talking about pregame. Lesson learned.
Yeah, apparently. I just felt like that was an unwritten rule.
Unwritten rule. If you're listening to this, it is now on the record.
Yeah, apparently. That's brutal.
I know.
I couldn't imagine just like not doing anything. Like, I don't know.
Right.
That's really weird.
Especially if it's one of my athletes. Like, I want to know. It's like, I'm not going to, like, just watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird. That's weird.
That's really weird.
Don't do that, friends.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one is just like a really weird, like, location, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
Yes, this one's by Hannah W. Pre-game treatment / taping area was in a construction zone. It had hard hat signs. They did not give us hard hats, but there were signs that said you needed to have them to be in the area. It also doubled as our team's locker room area. Had an athlete almost step on a screw that poked through the tarp.
Oh, shoot.
That was haphazardly laid on the ground. And this was the same game that the host ATs didn't come over to talk with us at all the entire day. It was overall a weird experience. I've never been a part of a construction zone. That's pretty tough.
I know, like, that's just super weird.
I wonder if it was, like, communicated ahead of time. I mean, but even then, the fact that you weren't given hard hats or, like, found an appropriate alternative, like, I don't know, that's really weird.
Not safe.
Not safe at all.
So I've had a really, really weird location too. Whereas it was a few years ago for football. We were in the locker room, like a visiting locker room, but it wasn't like for football. It was like for volleyball or something. So it wasn't near the football field. And to get to the football field, we had to go up a hill. And like the whole team had to go from the locker room up a hill and then like down to the football area.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was like probably at least 6 or 7 minute walk.
Oh, that's brutal.
And like you were tired after.
At halftime, do they count that as the time?
I mean, it was pretty steep.
Yeah.
It was,
Like-
well, for halftime, we just went to the corner of the.
I mean, you have to, because I mean that's literally half of halftime.
Right, and you're like, I mean, downhill would be different, but like,
Yeah, but then
how
you have to
steep
go back.
it was
Yeah.
to go up for a couple minutes.
Yeah,
yeah, not
that's
cool.
brutal.
Yeah, especially I remember it. I feel like it wasn't a night game. I think it was a 1 p.m. game, and so like in the middle of the day with the sun.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Could you imagine? How did you get hurt? Oh, I stepped on a screw because we were in this construction.
That's so irritating.
right.
So irritating.
I just
Or
thought that
got
was so
concussed
weird.
because you didn't have a hard hat.
I know. Oh my gosh.
I mean, yes, you can get a concussion even if you had a hard hat, but you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying. Skull fracture because you didn't have a hard hat. There you go.
No thanks. So we have I put on our Instagram story, what was one of your worst experiences being hosted?
Okay.
And one person said, we went to fill up the coolers and cockroaches shot out before water. I assume out of the hose.
So that's why you always purge the water first. Oh, God. That's so brutal.
And then someone else said they had an AT who wouldn't let us fill up our water for coolers.
Okay.
Basically had them full of ice for travel. So they had ice, but they weren't allowed to have water.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, just let the ice melt?
Yeah, like, well, you better start ahead of time. Like,
Right.
I don't know. That's very weird.
I know. So I actually had someone slightly similar, I guess. They did let us have water.
Okay.
However, they made us make our coolers ourselves.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Like the 10 gallons and the water bottles.
That's a bummer.
They had us do it ourselves. And they didn't show me like where I walked over and I was like, oh, I noticed that there wasn't water out there. Like, could we get some water? And they were like, oh yeah. And I was like, okay.
Thanks.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I've never been in your ATR before.
So do you got it? I got it. What's happening
Well,
here?
then they, like, after I asked, they showed me where the water bottles were and where the coolers were. And then I was like, okay, what about the hose? Like,
Yeah, that's, I don't know. If you're the host, you should be providing the water.
right. It was so weird.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I would never do that. If you're coming to my home, I am providing you water.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was college, too.
That's brutal.
I know.
That's unreal.
With an AT who had been there for a long time.
That's unreal.
I know.
Yeah. I'd be embarrassed. I'd feel so bad.
Right. I don't know if that's how they normally do it, because I haven't been
Yeah,
back,
of course, yeah.
So Haley said one time she had a host AT that at halftime said, "I gotta go, cover mine too," for football.
Oh, okay, bye. I mean, what? I gotta go.
Right. And she said, basically, like, my AD knows. Bye.
Oh, I get it.
But she doesn't know why. I
Yeah.
asked her if she knew why, and she said she didn't ask. But
Of course.
she did say that high school ATCs usually have restriction on hours and resources.
Yeah.
Probably because California, we don't have licensure.
Yeah.
So she said that hoping that's what it was for.
Which I could see that becoming an issue, like that being the reason, but
It wasn't like emergency. It was just like,
I gotta go.
Yep. Cover mine too.
That one's brutal. Like, I feel like if that was a situation, like, I feel like that should have been shared. Like
Right,
I'm
like,
so sorry. I just can't. Like, this is why I have to get out of here.
Right.
Not just, hey, I gotta go.
Cover mine too. I can't imagine that. I'd be like,
Excuse me. What'd you say?
Can I go?
Yeah, can I just leave too? Like, can we get who else can cover our game?
So we do have a bunch of good.
We should end on a positive.
Right. So Caroline.
And there are some great hosts out there, by the way. This isn't all just doom and gloom.
Yeah, but those aren't like all the fun stories.
Of course.
So Caroline D said, generally speaking, I've always had good experiences on the road, both at the high school D3 and D1 settings. One time this year, we were at this college where I was traveling with women's ice hockey. They literally opened up a whole ATR for us to use. We had tubs, ice machine, 3 tables, and a taping table, hot packs, stim, ultrasound, you name it. It was awesome. So we made sure to give that AT Gatorade next time they played us at home.
Yes, that's valid.
I feel like
See, that goes back to you help me, I'm gonna help you.
Right. I feel like Gatorade's like the gold,
currency.
Right.
Yeah, that's the currency here.
Unfortunately, we couldn't return the flavor.
The flavor. Speaking of Gatorade.
We couldn't return the favor. They could return the flavor.
Yes.
Couldn't return the favor with the extra ATR, but we still did everything we could for her. They were doing renovations to the rink, so they just let us use the main ATRs because they had a brand new hockey-only ATR.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. So some other things that people said that they had like really good host experiences. One host left candy in the ice chest.
That's dope.
Which, if I opened the ice chest and there was candy in it, like, I would be super jazzed.
I would actually be confused. I'd be like, oh, did someone leave this in here?
Maybe put a little nice note. Ooh, that'd be cute if you, like, leave a little note for your little host AT in your ice chest. We should make that a thing.
I feel like the visiting ATs that I've had would be weirded out by that. If I left them a note.
Why? Because I think it's a love note?
I'm not sure.
Well, you already know
one of them I know is the one who normally travels is an older gentleman, so I feel like he'd be really weirded out.
Little candy in someone said the host gave us feet and hand warmers for a football game that was below 20 at kickoff.
Oh, that's nice. That's dope.
Well, first, below 20, I hope I'm not outside.
I think the game should get canceled, but whatever.
I need to brush up on my
okay, see, that's the thing. Is like, I get, yes, you can play that game, but no one wants to be out there. No one who wants to play that game?
Everyone who
because I guarantee
made the game keep going.
I guarantee you no, I think people just feel like, oh, we have to keep going, but I don't think anyone wants to be there. I know the refs don't want to be out there. And I know the coach doesn't want to be out there. I mean, yes, there's probably some crazy coaches that probably do, but I'm sure that's a small handful and if anything, it might be the head coach. Because what I've noticed is like assistant coaches are somewhat sane, but then when you become a head coach, like, I don't know what happens.
You know,
right? Like the assistant coaches are always the easiest to talk to. They get it. And then all of a sudden, like, they become head coaches.
Because they don't have to reschedule.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They don't
That's
have to
probably true.
reschedule the games.
That's true.
Because, like, we were sitting in hail a couple of weeks ago,
And that's brutal.
and we didn't reschedule.
And no one wanted to be there.
No one wanted to be there. I didn't want to be there. I didn't have a cover.
Exactly.
I was soaked when I left that game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You were soaked when we left that game.
It's not my first time. But that was also around the same time as when I made you sit out in 14 hours of rain with me. So it was fair.
Like years prior.
Yeah, it was fair.
Payback years
Later.
later.
It was fair.
One host gave a hydroculator in addition to water and ice.
Oh, nice. I mean, that I've seen in indoor sports. I've seen, yeah, in indoor sports.
You know what? That's a great idea. We were not sure, because if we get a new hydroculator, we were not sure what we should do with the other one.
Yeah.
We could make it a host thing.
Yeah, you could.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So in general, I think this is a good way to sum it up.
Yes.
We have Maddy S says for what?
I was just going to say, is this being a good host 101?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it.
This is our action item.
Ooh, even the story episodes having action items.
Tips to be the best host: always introduce yourself. Try to make a connection if timing's right. We're all in this together, and it's nice to try and connect and make friends with other ATs.
Yes, we are all sharing the same struggle.
You got any other tips, Randy?
I think the biggest thing is just treat the visiting AT in a way that you would like to be treated as the visiting AT.
Better.
Yeah,
Better than.
that's true.
And
But at least minimum, like, let's at least set the bar somewhere.
if you like someone, you should give them Gatorade.
Yeah, clearly.
You should reward them with Gatorade.
Yes, I think I need to start doing that for the one school that we're tight with.
Mm-hmm.
Help them out. They'll get all jazzed.
So we do have, I put up on our Instagram, we put up a little question box that was asking about tips to be the best host AT. We're going to compile those, put them together. We'll put them up on our Facebook group. And in our Facebook group, we're also going to put those pictures of the supply list from the hockey league from Dillon. So we'll put those up. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, go ahead and go over to facebook.com/group/AT Corner Podcast. It's free to join. You can network with other clinicians. You can see the supply list, all that. You can comment on stuff, which you can't comment on a podcast, unfortunately.
Yes.
And then also, if you guys are new, we do every other episode as education or stories. This one was a story episode. Next week, do we have a CU?
We do have a CU next week. We're talking about neck pain.
Oh, I could talk about neck pain forever. Yep. That'll be good.
That'll be a good one. It should be a fun one, considering that I like learning about neck pain, because I feel like you don't really talk about it much in school.
No, not really.
Yeah, but yeah, well, first of all, some of my athletes cause me neck pain. All right.
Good thing I'm good at treating it.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, you guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, go to the show notes. It's your cheat sheet for everything AT Corner Podcast.
Yes.
And Randy, you got anything else?
Nope, that's perfect. Thank you for helping us showcase athlete training behind the tape. Bye.